Hello everyone and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Terran versus Protoss where we find ourselves on the map Berlingrad. Spotting right here in the top left-hand corner, playing with the blue Protoss probes from South Korea, we have herO. Now herO, of course, I mean, if you've been watching the channel over the last couple of months, you've probably recognized that he's quickly become one of my absolute favorite players. I think I've casted him more so over the last month than any other player out there. First and foremost, he's been participating in a lot of tournaments that release their replay packs, so that kind of helps. But it's been a lot of fun as well to watch him develop his playstyle once again. His strategies have been very aggressive lately, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him, well, I guess smash the competition. A couple of days ago, when I last featured him, he's now considered to be the rank 1 Protoss player in the world, but at the time he was also considered to be the rank 5 in the world overall. Right now he's considered to be the rank 6, because apparently his opponent is now the rank 5. Playing here with the red Terran SCVs, likewise also from Korea, we're looking at herO's main command center. herO, of course, the most recent winner of the GSL Code S, one of the absolute best Terran players in the world. herO's one of those guys where you look at his playstyle, and if you watch a bunch of his games, at some point you think, hold my beer, I can give this a try, right? If you compare herO's playstyle to, for example, like the other top tier Terrans, like a Maru or Bjorn or Clem, right? You kind of look at those guys and you realize there's absolutely no way, even with 100 years of practice, that I'm ever going to be able to pull this off, right? With herO, he doesn't really play a very spicy style of Terran. He just sort of does everything in the most standard way possible, and evidently it's been working out for him. But I do think a lot of people don't really rate him nearly as highly as he deserves, because he's genuinely one of the very best. But whenever you ask people, like, who are the best StarCraft 2 players in the world, I don't think herO is one of those names that really comes up all too often. I mean, a Protoss example of a very similar player would be Trap. Trap doesn't really have, like, a very... you know, like not really a playstyle of his own, right? He plays everything in the most standard way possible. He doesn't really have, like, for example, Zest obviously plays very aggressively too. He's known to have huge banks, and he's very micro-focused. herO with his hyper-aggression recently, classic, with the very laid-back style. But Trap and, yeah, herO, I don't really know exactly how to put it, but they don't really have their own quote-unquote own playstyle, right? Anyways, well, I say that. It's almost like herO could hear me talk. I didn't mean it in a bad way whatsoever, by the way, because I'm a huge herO fan myself, and I'm just mentioning it because I think a lot of people should have him on their radar if they don't already have him. But apparently he decides to start this game off with a little bit of spiciness. We've got ourselves a very quick concussive shells opener. Alright. Anyways, as you may have already noticed, both of these guys are in the same clan. They're in Team DPG, which stands for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, the best team in all of StarCraft 2. So their members are herO, Dark, herO, Rogue, and Zest, and according to Aligalek, that makes them the highest ranked team in all of StarCraft 2. I mean, those 5 players, they're all in the top 10 right now, so not all too crazy. Interestingly enough, apparently the second best team in StarCraft 2, with a 96% all-kill score, is Team ENCE. Now, Team ENCE, I know some of you are thinking, what members do they have? Actually, hold that thought. Yep, nicely done. Catches the Adept over here, still loses the Reaper. That was... no, that's not gonna happen, dude. No way. No way. Alright, anyway. Team ENCE, they have one member, and it's just herO. So, besides being the highest ranked StarCraft 2 player in the world, and by many considered to be the GOAT of StarCraft 2, yeah, he's also apparently the second best team. Just, you know, being one guy. They used to have multiple members, but I guess, yeah, Mr. herO just kind of took all of the team salary. He just gobbled it up, and... I guess that's all they can afford these days? I'm not exactly sure. Anyways. The one Marauder going very deep. Yeah, it's a one-way trip. I don't know if they knew. That this was a one-way trip. I feel like he could have done a little bit more there, but anyways. herO following this up right now with a little bit of bio. So this is where herO is going to sit back for the next, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. I don't think he's going to move out until Stimpack, Combat Shield, plus 1 infantry weapons, a couple of medevacs and all that are out. So this is where herO gets to play his quintessential, quote-unquote, boring playstyle, right? I personally like it, but a lot of people are like, come on, herO, do something. They're like poking the monitor, like, come on, herO, go fight. Anyways. So, this is when herO has full map control. What have we gone for? Apparently, we're gonna go for Blink. Fair enough. Not all too surprising. Blink, of course, a very nice upgrade. Not only to use offensively, so we have a Warp Prism coming up right now. Wouldn't be surprised if he's going to send those units across the map, but also obviously defensively. If there's a couple of medevacs getting a little bit too aggressive, say there would be like say there would be like I don't know, like a medevac drop coming across, right? You could have a couple of Stalkers hiding over here, blink underneath, and yeah, it's great offensively as well as defensively. The main problem, I guess, with Stalkers is that they sort of fall off as the Terran armies grow bigger, especially when Terrans go for timing attacks. Stalkers alone aren't gonna cut it, so oftentimes what we see... Oh my god, Cure, where are we going? Alright, this really feels kind of out of character. Cure has like a bunch of Marines right here on the right side of the map. Looks to me like he, wants to actually send them towards the opponent's natural or something along those lines. Anyways, he's gonna kind of miss those units at home, though. Yeah, those are seemingly now making a beeline towards the other side of the map. Stalkers in the main base being a little bit annoying, but with both the blink as well as the prism, there's really not much of a chance that this is really gonna do any damage. Or, well, that he's gonna, like, lose any of those Stalkers, that is, so the Terran's not gonna be able to do that much damage. Maybe Cure wanted to see if he could, like, force a cancel on the third base. Sadly for him, the third base of the Protoss player has been taken right here in the vertical position. Oftentimes we see it taken right here at the triangle location, where Terrans decide to go for the one right over here. Beautiful scan right there, actually spots the Disruptor transition as well, so it's gonna be Stalker Disruptor. A very strong unit composition. herO must be wondering as well where those additional units are. Normally, these 4 Stalkers shouldn't be able to deal this much damage. Anyways, at this point, the Prism is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Marines come stimming down the ramp as well. herO probably with a couple of question marks right now. Where did those units come from? Bunch of Marines suddenly came from the top right-hand corner. Anyhow. Should be okay. A little bit of sloppiness so far! Oh my god, no! Like I was saying, a little bit of sloppiness so far. But usually that makes for the most epic games, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, I haven't casted a herO game in a little while. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that the man doesn't really participate in a whole of the, you know, online tournaments. A lot of the smaller online cups, he doesn't really play in those. I guess they first have to have like 6 figures worth of, I don't know, prize pools, and then he might actually sign up. Anyways, herO has like this way of almost being surgical with his precision, where there's not really a whole lot of mistakes being made. I think he should go, herO. I mean, there's a couple of medevacs that just loaded up, actually. Really? I think we can go. I mean, there's no Prism with his army anymore, so herO apparently decides to go back home. Really feel like he could have actually done a lot of damage there. I think if he would have had the Prism, he would have done so. He probably recognized that a couple of medevacs were missing. Okay, medevacs at this point do get spotted here. Colossus also, by the way, very ballsy there. Just walking down the main ramp using the little Reaper jump-up pad. Anyways. Yeah, usually the games just below the very best players in the world seem to be the more exciting ones. Just because, well, like I said, I've got many herO replays from, for example, IEM Katowice. But he literally goes like, I think he goes 10-0 before he finally drops a map. And that's against like the best players in the world. And most of those games are like 7 minutes long. So it's quite literally just herO playing better. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can cast the games. I mean, I'm not against casting those matches. But generally speaking, they're not necessarily going to be the most exciting to watch. Anyhow, I would definitely be casting more herO games though if the replays were available. I know that there's currently a tournament going on where he is participating. So as soon as those replays are out, yeah, I'll definitely make sure to cover some of his matches. I know there's a herO versus herO game, for example, which I really want to check out. Anyways, here we go. Protoss moving down. Yeah, moving up the ramp over here too. I mean, this is a pretty action-packed first 9 minutes of the game, but both players are mostly just tiptoeing around each other. Little bit of aggression here and there. Still feel like herO could have done some more damage when he first went across the map with that first really big Disruptor hit, but he decided to go back home and give his opponent the benefit of the doubt. That does mean that both players are now going to happily be able to expand out of this. A lot of Terran versus Protosses have already ended at this point, and, well, you can see 9.5 minutes into it. The supply count is, well, basically dead even. That means we're going to go into one of the later stages of a match. There's the Armory, second Engineering Bay coming up for Cure. He decided to go for the Ghost Academy here too. He immediately goes for the enhanced shockwaves rather, which is the EMP improvement for the Ghosts. 3 Ghosts immediately coming up. Of course, against Zerg, we see those units all the time to get rid of energy out of, for example, well, Queens or Infestors or Vipers. But they also remove the shields out of Protoss units. And guess what? Every single one of those Protoss units has shields. So Ghosts are kind of a no-brainer. Not as spicy as a spell, for example, as like Psionic Storm. But honestly, EMP is equally powerful. Like, the animation of the spell doesn't really look as fancy, but you really do want to be paying attention to the EMPs. It's an incredibly powerful ability. Zealots in the map. Yeah, in the middle of the map they get caught. Those guys, I guess, were supposed to run to their deaths right over here at the 3rd base location. Instead, they decided to run to their deaths right here in the center. So, Storm coming up, as well as EMP upgrades. Cool. herO is definitely going for a more sophisticated army composition here. In a straight-up battle, he'll probably be pretty happy. Problem is, Curie's not going to give him any of that. Yeah, look at this entrenched position, right? Siege tanks in the back. Wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a sensor tower on top of the high ground here in a minute. Missile turrets in the front, ghosts all the way in the back, medevacs up above. This is basically Trap saying, or sorry, Cure. There's no Trap in this game, Lowko. This is Cure saying that he is gonna, yeah, simply sit back and do whatever he like. It's gonna be very hard to break him. He decides to now go for the fusion core as well, so he is setting himself up for a proper late game. Securing the 4th base is probably gonna be one of the hardest things for him to do right now, but I think herO just accidentally all-army hotkeyed this Zealot back that was previously over there. So maybe this command center is going to be able to morph into a planetary fortress relatively easily. Okay, I kind of like this, though. Threatening to send the Protoss army right there to the right side of the map, forcing some of that army to move and unsiege, and then still move in right here to the left. This is where a sensor tower is very helpful, right? So you can actually mirror the movement right here of the Protoss player. Anyways, Cure still arrives in the right location at the right time. Ooh, Disruptors moving forward. They do catch a couple of those units. EMPs already did go off, though, and Planetary at this point is about halfway done morphing. Alright, this is basically Cure saying, I'm gonna sit back, you can do whatever you like, I'm gonna do whatever I like, and what I like to do is make big-ass units. Generally speaking, Terrans will start adding on more and more Liberators here, more and more Ghosts. They're very expensive, so you need that 4-base eco to properly build all of it, but once you get a good amount of them, it's gonna be very hard for a Protoss ground army to be able to engage against it. I like what Mr. herO is doing as well, though, with those double forge upgrades here for a while already. Chrono boosting him constantly, giving him a nice advantage as far as those upgrades go. I mean, right now it's a 2-2, but he should be able to start a +3 here pretty soon, and this one is already halfway done. Whereas Cure, I guess he's been up with his back against the wall for a little while. He's got the money for it, though, so I wouldn't mind seeing him start up the +3/+3 as well, or at the very least the +3 infantry weapons. Anyways. A very Maru-esque approach right now, right? Happily adding on more command centers. And even though herO wants to fight, Cure's not giving it to him. Yeah, those couple of Liberators are really quite annoying. Anyways, in the meantime, herO has been happily expanding himself as well. Taking basically the entire top section of the map. Fair enough. Finally, Cure decides to explore the other side of the map once more. He hasn't done so in a while. There's 3-3 started up. Definitely later than you want him to. But it's okay. If you're Cure, you probably don't plan on moving out anyways. Those Terran units laughing in the face of danger. They realize that the range of the Disruptor right there wouldn't be enough. Alright, Cure, look! There's a Protoss base! Look at that! Alright, getting a little bit of work done at the same time. Ooh, okay, that was definitely an overextension, though. That's what you gotta be very careful about against, yeah, with these sort of Terran armies. You blink once, lose a Prism, full of High Templar, and suddenly you have a maxed out Terran army at your front door. Look at this, though. He's just getting everything. Alright. This is the latest development in the Terran arsenal of build orders. They have like 20 different approaches to every single matchup. But the latest one is to basically try and sit on 4 bases. And then once you get to a maxed out state, you add on additional orbital commands and command centers. So you just kind of just keep adding on. Sometimes we even see like planetary fortresses in tactical locations. That's mostly against Zerg, but definitely something you could pull off against Terran too if you... Or against Protoss rather too if you really wanted as well. Against Terran would be kind of tricky, because siege tanks obviously outrange planetaries. Anyway, small bits of harassment, but honestly... the attacks from Cure have been more effective than herO posturing around with his entire army. Yeah, so Cure is basically just going back and forth here, making sure that there's no easy angle for the Protoss player to fight into. And he's slowly building up his bank. That being said, herO's done the same thing. herO getting a little bit of everything right now, too. Prism speed, Disruptor, Prism speed right there, as well as the Observer speed. We're gonna go into +1 attack right there for the Flyers. Stargate is coming up. Okay, so he's setting himself up for a late-game transition. Wouldn't have minded if he decided to add on a Stargate there a little bit sooner. And at the same time, look at that, actually. We've already got a tactical nuke coming up. We don't usually see nukes against Protoss. But hey, Cura's got some money in the bank. Man. How are you gonna fight this? Seriously. Okay, so, High Templar coming in from the side, also dodged. EMPs. Once again, massive EMPs. Look at the choke point created over here, right? Yeah, Cura's defensive play here has been phenomenal. Okay, once again, High Templar not really getting that much damage done. Additional command centers are finished. Okay, once again, good EMPs. Disruptors trying to roll forward. Liberators, though, sieged up. And Protoss can't really go in there. Okay. Yeah, Cure is doing a little bit of everything, right? I feel like that Marauder opener of his kind of reminds me of something that Björn would do. And then the way that he's playing right now reminds me, well, a lot of Maru. Maru obviously has been doing this for a while. Sitting back, sitting back, sitting back. And then eventually going in for some harassment. And apparently one of the ways to harass the opponent is with tactical nukes. At the same time, though, the players are skirmishing on the other side of the map. So I don't actually know if Protoss is going to be able to pay attention to the nuke that's going to land at his 3rd base. Actually, nah, that's the 4th. Cure also hoped that this was the 3rd, right? When he sent that group of Marines out a little while ago. Nice hit right there by the Terran player. Another tactical nuke immediately queued up. Little hit squads of units being sent out. So what exactly is Cure looking for right now? I mean, he could definitely go for a major engagement if he wants to. But he also knows that he doesn't necessarily have to, right? Like in a game of StarCraft 2, oftentimes the mindset is when you're ahead, try to get more ahead. One of the noob traps, I guess, is that like, you think you're at an advantage, so you go in for the kill. And while oftentimes that is possible, oftentimes it's also not possible, right? So oftentimes the best thing you can actually do is just try to get more ahead. This is Cure saying, I don't want to win before the half-hour mark, unless you mess up. Got a load of bases. herO not replacing the lost probes, by the way, instead opting to go for a larger army supply. I don't know if the army supply that he's going for, though, is ideal. Another tactical nuke flying straight across the map. He's going for bases that are... Okay, the ghost already is... No. Oh, it's over there in the back. I didn't see it either. Oh my god, that was brutal. Anyways, I thought he was actually setting it from there, and the ghost was already picked up. Anyways, he's sending the nukes into locations that aren't the most obvious ones. Many times when we see nukes, we obviously see them on the outer bases, right? The ones that are most obvious to harass, but this one over here would not be the most obvious one. This one, I mean, especially if you go in from the back, definitely not the most obvious one. But nice spotting right there by herO, he didn't notice it. What I was going to try and say is that herO still has a lot of supply caught up in units that aren't really that useful. We have 17 Stalkers and 19 Zealots. Those units aren't bad, don't get me wrong, but I would have loved to see some big heavy hitters, like a couple of Tempests or something along those lines. Definitely wouldn't have hurt, because how exactly are you going to break this? This is finally the moment where Cure is ready to move out, He's got how many Liberators? 14 Liberators and 7 Ghosts. The best way to engage this is either to try and catch it when it's unsieged, but that's going to be very hard to pull off, or you try and fight it from the back. Yeah, exactly. Try and pick off a couple of those libs. Fair enough. Alternatively, herO right now could go for a full-on counterattack, but obviously in the meantime, KuRe is happily destroying all of the bases right here that are the Protoss. Alright, herO a little bit indecisive there. He wanted to try and see if he could defend, found out he couldn't. Planetary Fortress on the high ground, I love it. Great spot. A defensive tactical nuke. KuRe is nuking his own natural. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Gotta be so careful, mate! Okay, he does see it. I don't know if he realized that was a red dot there. I think he must have. But that was very dangerous. That was extremely dangerous. Love the way that herO was, that KuRe was doing that though. Sending a tactical nuke to his own natural expo. And herO's like, yep, hold my beer. Let me blink into it. Ended up working out just fine. KuRe though bringing the majority of the Liberators back, it seems. Ooh. Creating like a chokehold on that ramp. You can't really go in there, can you? 25 Stalkers. There's also 8 Dark Templar available. Okay, those Dark Templar are apparently going to go towards the base at the bottom section of the map. Those Liberators actually are going to make it hard for units to leave the base. Dark Templar. They do have Shadow Stride available. They want to go for apparently the... Oh my god, actually hold that thought. They want to go for the one right over here at the bottom. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Liberators can really get in there. These are properly upgraded libs. So, or sorry, the Stalkers can't really go in there. They're properly upgraded Liberators though with +3 upgrades, and they're going to be able to deal a ton of damage. Now herO kind of stuck instead of his opponent's main base. That being said, KuRe's army supply has been dwindling, but I'm looking here at his total resources. He needs to start building some stuff. Just like anything. Yeah, I guess he lost the majority of his production structures in the main base. That does make it a little harder for him to actually get into a good position. High Templar right there. It does get EMP'd. There's one more in the back too. A couple of Liberators also available. Liberators though. Very, very nice. herO trying to find an angle to retreat and disengage. Okay. KuRe is forced to now rebuild a lot of his infrastructure. I think if herO wants to try and win the game, he needs to go right now. As soon as KuRe is going to be able to spend that huge bank of his, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. herO, that is. Like, herO, I mean, he's broke. 133 supply. KuRe, I mean, with like 10,000 resources in the bank, is going to be able to remax very easily. All that KuRe needs to do right now is just hold on. Planetaries, Liberators, and structures in the right location seem to do quite well so far. Additional libs are coming up. Barracks here are finally done. Command Center does blow up in the middle of this battle. Okay, a couple of decent storms. Overextension right there by KuRe. Just back off. Okay, Planetary over here taking some damage too. Beautiful game here right here. Yeah, I love everything that he's done basically this game. Other than maybe that strange Marine move out at the beginning. That was a little bit funky, but... Oh, and he took that huge Disruptor hit to the face too, right? Oh, yeah, that was a great engagement right there for KuRe. Picking off basically the last of the heavy hitters right there, with the exception of those 3 Colossi. But he basically just picked off everything, and it cost him only a Command Center and a bunch of SCVs. Don't get me wrong, SCVs are of course very important. But at this stage in the game, KuRe is happy to replace them with mules instead. KuRe just trying to set up as defensive of an army here as he can. Controlling all of the choke points with Liberators and just trying to reproduce an army. He knows very well that all he needs to do is just spend his money right now, remax on a big army. Any army, it doesn't really matter what. You could just go back to Marines and Marauders if you really want to as well. And he knows that herO must be on his last legs at this point because he's done so much damage on the other side of the map. herO just simply looking for an opening at this point. Any opening, but losing another Colossus right there. Yeah, he does pick off a couple of the units. I mean, his micro has been really good, but I just don't think he's got enough stuff. Only 18 workers remain. It's not gonna happen. Eventually, KuRe indeed has a little bit too much. And it's gonna be our Terran player who obtains the victory. If you enjoyed watching this, I upload new videos pretty much every single day, so if you want to, you can subscribe to the channel. We are coming up on 500,000 subs. It would be pretty cool if you can get there before the end of the year. Anyways, thanks to everyone who is subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you.